So you just bought a brand new gold panning kit and now you want to know how to use the thing. And I'm guessing by now you've watched about 24 videos on YouTube trying to figure out how to do just that. Ugh! And they've probably shown you steps something like this. Fill your classifier sitting on top of your pan with dirt. Submerge both the classifier and pan under the water. Shake your classifier around until you've got all the big rocks separated. Now that you have a pan full of material, put it under the water and stratify it by shaking it side to side or in sort of circle motions. Now that everything is stratified, so the gold is sunk to the bottom of the pan and the lights are come to the top, tip the pan slightly forward, put it under the water and lift straight up and down. And then re-stratify every so often. You keep doing that until you have about a handful of concentrates left. At this point, you'll be down to your heavy minerals, such as black sand, ironstone, and your gold. Then you're going to do something like turn your pan on a 45-degree angle. This is your neutral position, and you're going to dip the pan level and tilt it back. And what that's going to do is remove the light sands and the black sand away from your gold. You can see that it's quite effective because we have little pieces of gold at the top of our pan, and our black sand is mostly separated away from them. We can do the final cleanup at home on small pieces like this. Now the thing is, if you just tip those concentrates into a bucket, you can go home and practice tilting it back and forth and dipping and lifting your pan in and out of water until you get it right. But there is a better, quicker and faster way of doing it if you've just got a panning kit. The dip and lift method of panning is very effective, but it does take some time to learn properly. We can take advantage of how heavy gold is and cheat. So if you're just starting out, you can get down to a handful of concentrates, take them home and practice all the other parts so that when you're good and competent at it, you can come out to the creek and not waste your time trying to learn that skill on the field. Consider this a quick start guide. Pan. Some form of pay dirt. You're still going to classify in exactly the same way. Sometimes it's worth checking for nuggets. Here it's not. You still have to stratify. That means sinking all the gold to the bottom because it's the heaviest thing. Using this method, stratification is the most important part. So make sure you spend a bit of extra time doing it. Right, now that we have everything stratified in this pan, instead of dipping and lifting, I'm going to take my hand and I'm just going to scoop out the top 1.5 to 2 inches of gravel. Then I'm going to stratify again. The reason we can do this is because the gold's constantly sinking. We're just removing the gravel that the gold's already sunk out of manually instead of with the water. Water is always going to be more accurate because gold's going to keep sinking, but it's a hard skill to learn on the creek. Much better and much easier for you to do it at home where it's controlled. Now I'm down to about half a pan. We're going to start tilting the pan forward and shaking side to side. That is going to sink most of the gold towards your front riffles. Lift it up. Really important, we're not going to take any dirt from the back edge. We're only going to take it from the front. And we're going to keep doing this process until we're down to a handful of concentrates. Now that we're down to a little more than a handful, we're going to shake the concentrates forward until they fill all of the riffles. And using the same exact technique, I'm not going to touch the back. I'm going to come one riffle forward, use my little finger, and just scrape off level with those riffles. So we're not going to dip down into each of the riffles. We're just going to scrape across the top of them. Recover the riffles, do exactly the same thing. And there we have it. We should be down to our concentrates. Now, if you want to try and recover some of the gold that's in these concentrates at the end, you can absolutely do that. But it's quicker just to tip this in a bucket and clean it up at home, especially if you're learning. If you want to reveal the gold, this is the method you use. Gripping the pan with your thumb over the top and all your fingers underneath the pan opposite to your dirt, you're going to deliver short, sharp, rapid taps to the dirt side while the dirt's covered in water. That walks all the gold into that back riffle. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do a swirling action. So we're going to roll the pan like this. So we roll it in a circle. And you can see how the black sand is very rapidly revealed, and we've even got some gold up the top. Now because this is a pile of dirt, it's worth covering the dirt up and just gently shaking side to side, and that will flatten the black sand and gold out, making the rolling action easier to reveal the gold. Even though we used two different methods and one of them was manual, we still recovered very, very fine gold and a fair amount of it from this spot. And I've also left links in the description to panning kits that I think are worth picking up if you're just starting out. I'm really fast at hand panning down because I've had many years of experience, but if you're just starting out and you've just bought a brand new gold pan, this is the method that you can go to the creek with confidence and use without having to struggle and fight to learn how to pan. Learn how to pan at home, come out to the creek and collect concentrates.